Welcome to Transform Yourself Radio, the podcast that shines a light on the secrets behind physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual transformation. I'm your host, Adam Farr, and I'm here to teach you how to transform your body, your mind, and your life once and for all. Stay tuned, I have a great show for you today. The subject of today's episode is Make Training Habits Stick with a Peri-Training Ritual. We know how important it is to install some sort of movement practice or training regime into our daily life, into our daily schedule, when the goal is transformation, physical transformation, namely. If you want to look different and you're not doing some sort of exercise or training, I prefer the term training. If you're not doing some sort of training regime to accomplish a better looking body, well, then perhaps you will lose weight. Perhaps you will get healthier in terms of the state of your gut and the state of your microbiome. Perhaps you will look a lot better. But in order to look your best, being physically active plays a large part. And a lot of people will make an effort to change their diet, when it comes to making the necessary changes they have in their life. But when it comes to changing their activity patterns, moving more, training, right? Understanding that aspect, that could be a lot more intimidating. And it could be intimidating because it's an entirely different subject. Most people have never trained in their lives, right? Many of us have had gym memberships, but many of us have never even properly trained in our lives. And so there's this tendency to work out and to exercise, right? But that's not training. Working out and exercising is simply movement, but training is movement with a purpose. Training is movement with a strategy. Training is movement with a framework that allows you to accomplish something much more efficiently. And so, in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish with your physical transformation, you have to install the habit of training, of movement. You actually have to show up to wherever it is you're going, whether it be a yoga practice, whether you're following one of my MH5 training programs, whether you're going to take part in a new sport like mountain climbing, whatever it is, right? You actually have to get to where you have to go. You have to be in the training environment. And in order to make sure you get to where you have to go and the time spent in that place is well used, and the time spent after is also well used, you must install a ritual. I call it a peri-training ritual. Peri-training means the time surrounding training. And so you must install these rituals and have these rituals in place in order to ensure that you get to where you're supposed to go, you do what you're supposed to do, and when you get back, you do what you're supposed to do as well to ensure that it happens again the next day. Consistency, frequency. So there are 3 reasons why this information might be very important for you, and you might want to listen to what I'm saying here. The first reason is, if you've historically had trouble being consistent with your efforts to train or to exercise or to be physically active, if you've been having trouble making those kinds of changes and you've never been successful, or you're inconsistent in your success, well, this is actually rooted in the fact that your habits are automatic. There's a lack of awareness to the habits you have that lead up to your scheduled training time, and the habitual things that you do during and after your training time. All these things will come together and make it less likely for you over time to continue doing what you need to do. And so the things you do before you go to the gym, you go train in your living room, whatever it may be, the things you do before will make all the difference for you over the long term. If you structure that, if you create a pre-workout ritual. Otherwise, you may get stuck in a mindset of habituation, of habitual patterns and thought processes and rationalizations that keep you in this cycle of inactivity where you should be going to train, you should be getting some movement in every day, but you come up with a reason why not. You've set up your environment to make it difficult or hard, or you have a bunch of obstacles in the way of doing that in a way that allows you to maintain your responsibilities as an adult. But what's missing really is a pre-workout ritual that ensures that none of those things do get in the way, and in fact that those things are taken care of prior to your very important training time every day. So you have to set up a pre-workout ritual. Another reason this subject might interest you is that you may be lacking a long-term approach that will make efficient use of your time and energy in the gym environment or in the training environment. You might simply be lacking a plan, a piece of paper to go into the gym with that is structured in a way to progress you from point A to point B in 6 weeks, in 12 weeks, whatever it may be. Something that gives you a sense of purpose. You have a goal you're moving towards. There's logic and there's rationality towards the structure of the program. It's not just any old exercise or a new exercise every time you see your coach because you get bored if you're doing the same thing over and over again. It's not some commercial BS that doesn't adhere to the laws of how the human body adapts and progresses. Right? You have a structured program that once you step foot in the gym or in the training environment, you know to follow that program, and you know that this program will take you to where you want to go if you continue to follow it. So every minute spent in the gym is a directed minute. It's a focused minute where you have your attention on the next objective, the next thing, the next rep, the next set, the next exercise or movement. And what about after the gym? After the gym or after the training session, many of us don't have a structured ritual set in place to ensure that when we come home from the gym and we're ready to relax, that we're in a state of rest and digest, that we feed our body the nutrients it needs to prepare itself for the next training effort, and that we get into a relaxed state to promote digestion, to promote relaxation, and to ensure that we have a good night's sleep. Right? If you don't have something that happens after training, the post workout window, the post workout ritual, sorry. If you don't have something set up there, if you don't have a plan or a ritualized process there, then you're throwing caution to the wind and you don't know what's going to happen necessarily after your workout. You don't have a plan set in motion to ensure that the next day you're going to be successful, and the day after that, and the day after that. So that's what a peri-workout ritual is. It's taking into account what happens before or what needs to happen before you train in order for it to actually happen, for you to get there, right? What happens during training? Are you directed? Are you aware? Do you have purpose to what you're about to do? Does your plan make sense? Is it an MH5 training program, or is it some bogus $50 program you got from a college student? And what happens after? Do you actually rest and digest? Do you recover? Do you eat your post-workout meal and fuel up? And do you sleep properly that night? Do you set yourself up for success over the long term? So let's imagine that your main problem is that old and automatic patterns of action or thinking are keeping you stuck in this cycle of you not even being in a place or a position where you have time or energy to make it to your training session, to make it to the gym, to work out in your basement, whatever it may be. Maybe you're stuck at this very first step, which is setting yourself up to actually show up, to press play, to be where you need to be in the environment that is conducive to training. Maybe this is your first problem. And what really, the real problem here, what this involves is the fact that you're not organizing your day around this particular issue as if it were a priority. That's the first thing you have to do. When you want to make a change, you have to make that change a priority. And when structuring your goal here, which is to prioritize this particular aspect of your life, you have to create a pre-training ritual that is SMART, S-M-A-R-T. The acronym stands for specific, measurable, attainable, reliable, and timely. Right? So you have to get really specific here. So in the hours before you go to your training session, or you're going to the gym, or you're going to do your workout, and the hours before, you say to yourself, well, how do I make sure that nothing is going to get in the way of that happening, that process happening? And you take a mental note of all the things that have historically gone in your way, whether it be distractions or stress, or not taking care of your biological needs. There are many things that could get in your way. One of the first things I suggest you do is to actually time your main meal relative to your workout time. So your main meal of the meal that you're going to consume the most calories, the most food, right? That you're going to need the most digestive support in order to consume it. That meal should occur 3 to 4 hours prior to your training session. 3 to 4 hours prior, right? This changes. If I'm working with someone and they have weight to lose and we're using mainly a diet and detox approach to accomplish that, and training is out of the picture, then I'll usually have them eat around noon. But if you're focusing a lot of your time and energy on performance and looking extra good naked, this is going to require training. And so your main meal has to shift relative to your training period. You have to change it up. So the first thing I suggest is to consume your main meal 3 to 4 hours prior to your workout. This gives you time to digest, gives you time to assimilate everything, and it gives you time to empty to a degree. Second thing you might want to do is actually take a nap right after your main meal. If it's 3 to 4 hours before, this is going to put you in a rest or digest state. It's going to allow your food to process more quickly. And if you're not able to take a nap, then shut down. Go in a quiet corner, relax, put some earbuds on, listen to music, do something that is completely relaxing. Allow the digestive process to take place. Take a moment to yourself and allow that to happen so that by the time you get to the gym, you're energized. All right. You don't want to be fatigued because you have indigestion going on. You want to be energized. A third thing you could do, it's not optimal. It's not necessarily the most holistic approach, but taking some pre-workout in the form of a coffee or caffeine right after your main meal, preferably before 2 p.m., will help energize you as well, or at least create the illusion of energy or the absence of fatigue prior to going to the gym. And if you know you have that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock slump where you hit the wall, and that usually becomes your excuse for not going to train, well, then you could implement a ritual that includes having a deliberate coffee around 1, 2 p.m. or 3 to 4 hours prior to your workout. Probably the most useful thing you could do is actually to prepare all your workout clothes and your water and have it in a little bag. I call it a go bag, and place that bag in the driver's seat of your car or somewhere nearby, somewhere where you see it visually, and that'll be a visual cue for you to actually go to the gym or go to the training environment you need to go to after the workday is over, after your main tasks of the day are complete. If you're finishing up one part of your day and then that's going to transition into your workout time, well, seeing a bag there that's ready and waiting for you, filled with all the stuff you need, allows you to just grab the bag and go. It triggers you, right? It's a routine thing. It's habitual. And so just doing that, having that ready, will probably make the biggest difference more than anything else. Now, the second problem that people may have is they'll be able to get to the gym, they'll be able to install that habit, that ritual that gets them there, but then they become upset or they lose motivation because once they get to the gym, they realize they don't know what the heck they're doing. They have no clue. And they're trying to follow some program off the internet or some squat challenge they found on social media, and they're in the gym, and there's no clarity of purpose to what they're doing. They don't have clearly defined goals. They're doing the squat challenge, but the squat challenge isn't their goal. It's just a squat challenge, right? They're not connecting their reason for being in the gym to their overarching reason for being alive, you understand? And that's what you need to do first and foremost. To have the motivation to push your body physically requires that you connect your motivation for being in the gym with the purpose, the overarching purpose or theme of your life. To use an example, the reason I stay in shape is because I need to be an example myself of health in order to teach other people and to be a credible source of information for other people so I can affect change in their lives. And so I could have the success that I want to have. And so going to the training environment for me is not just about looking a certain way. It actually is tied into my career, my life purpose, my self-image, my sense of self-satisfaction. It's all tied into that. And so all of a sudden, going through a workout or a training session is a lot more motivating. There's a lot more behind it. There's a lot more to it than the vanity or the superficial aspect that you would otherwise associate with changing the way your body looks. There's a lot more to it than that. So if you're going to want to make efficient use of your time in the gym, you're going to want to have a well-structured program that makes efficient use of your time and energy in the training environment. You're going to want to use something or be there doing something that works, that actually moves the needle forward, that actually creates the result you're looking to create and creates it quickly. And not any program will do. The programs have to follow the rules of progression, right? They have to follow the laws of adaptation. General adaptation syndrome, look it up, right? Hans Selye, he was a physiologist. Your program has to follow certain structures and certain rules that make a program good. There are certain exercises that will get you to your goal faster than other exercises, certain movements rather. Right? There's certain ways of structuring it with volume and your intensity manipulation and your frequency and your rest periods. All these things taken into context with respect to the person's life, their time constraints, their current level of skill and energy. This is what the MH5 training system is all about. So if you go into the gym with an MH5 training system and I'm coaching you through that process, well, your time spent in the gym is actually going to give you a return on your investment. You're actually going to look different. You're going to get stronger. You're going to have more energy and you're going to feel good. But if you go to the gym and you don't have some sort of ritualized workout in place, you don't have something in place that you do every single time, well, you're going to go there and you're going to feel lost. And again, you're going to lose motivation and you're going to have trouble sticking to it. So having a distinct set in stone program that is actionable over the long term, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, not something you change every day, not a new workout every day, not something random, right? Not something you change every 4 weeks. That's too frequent. It doesn't allow you time to master and to learn things that you may need to learn. Something that lasts a little bit longer and keeps you in this groove, keeps you on this path. For some, that may be boring, but hey, guess what? The mother of mastery is repetition. And if you want to master anything in life, you must repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And either you're going to the gym to master something, to get better, to grow, or you're going there to distract yourself. Another distraction in the world of distractions, just like another digital device, except it's not digital, right? Think about what your purpose is. If you go there with a strong sense of purpose, it's going to make sense for you to follow a program that's more like MH5. If you don't have a very strong sense of purpose and you're in the gym because you're told you should be in the gym, then you're likely to follow just about anything that'll waste your time. And you're likely to look the same month after month, year after year. Or if you do look different, you're not going to change very rapidly. It's not going to be very amazing. So the program you choose, the program you bring to the gym has to be well designed. It has to be educational. It has to challenge you. It has to follow the rules of progression and the laws of physiology, right? And there has to be a structure to it that allows you to progress from one program to another. There has to be a long-term vision, a long-term plan, so that you could actually move towards something. You could be motivated to go towards something instead of moving away from illness, sickness, fatness, low energy. You move towards strength, power, energy, right? Skill, athletic skill. You move towards things instead of away from. A lot of people use their exercise time as a preventative measure. Why would you spend an hour preventing when you could spend that same hour achieving something, moving towards something? You could do both in the same hour. But if your mindset changes, only if your mindset changes. And what about after you've come home from the training environment, from the gym, let's say? What do you do then? Well, you have to move into a state of rest and digest. You must. You must fuel your body back up to prepare it for the next day, right? You must give it something. Ideally, if you're trying to pack on muscle and to perform well, you're going to want to have some sort of liquid-based meal. I'm not talking about having a liquid protein shake here, all right? I'm talking about real food. I have a healthy, happy gut. I'll usually have a glass of kefir fermented goat's milk after the gym, or I'll have some raw eggs, something that's very easily digested after the meal. Or if I have something solid, I'll have a small amount of it, and I'll make sure I'll take my digestive enzymes. I want to fuel my body up. I want to give myself nutrients, but at the same time, I don't want to rob myself of any more energy through the digestive process, and I don't want to upset my chances of digesting properly and then not sleeping well that same evening, because otherwise I upset my chances of performing the next day. And you unleash this vicious cycle of less and less energy and becoming tired. after the gym because you're not cultivating energy, you're draining your energy. And there are decisions you have to make after the gym in your post workout ritual. There are decisions you have to make in order to accomplish that. So over the years for myself, my peri-workout ritual has changed very often. And it's always changed relative to where I am in my life, where I am with my goals, my bigger dreams, my overarching legacy. It'll change, right? And I'm always rethinking and reworking my rituals in order to adapt to the current state of my life, in order to adapt to my environment and the situations and circumstances I find myself in. And that's the key point here. The key point is that it is adaptable. It's not something you make and you have to stick to. It's something you make and either it fits well and it does the job, this ritual that you've come up with, or it doesn't. And it needs an adjustment. It needs a change. You need to shift your focus. You need to shift your priorities and how you're strategizing the entire problem. So if you're going to make working out and training and transforming yourself physically a priority in your life, and of course physical exercise plays an important role in that, well, you're going to have to structure your day around that particular activity because it's a high demand, energy consuming activity. It takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of focus, and there's very little room for error when you're pursuing that lifestyle. And so when you decide to eat depends on when you train. When you go to bed depends on when you train. Well, to a degree. The amount of food you consume depends on how you're training and how frequently. It'll affect whether you eat at work or whether you eat at school. It'll affect whether you pack a lunch. It'll affect whether you even need a lunch at all. It'll affect all kinds of things. The peri-workout ritual is like the glue that'll hold your day together. And if you want to squeeze in something as important as physical movement and exercise every day, then you must have rituals set in place that allow that to happen. And so you can't allow anything to get in the way. You can't allow your job to get in the way. You can't allow your family life to get in the way, other responsibilities. You must take into account all of these complexities, and you must write out a plan of action that says, hey, from this day forward, this is how I'm going to go about my day, because it will ensure that I make it to the gym, get a good workout, and I refuel myself after. And here are all the steps I need to take. I know I'm being vague now, but here are all the steps I need to take in order to ensure that nothing gets in my way, that I'm not distracted, that I don't have low energy, that my resources aren't held up in other activities. Here are all the steps. One of the first things you have to do, of course, is to simplify your life, have less responsibility wherever possible. If you're the soccer mom who's driving your kids to, soccer, and then you're also taking them to karate, and then, you're making sure you have dinner with the girls every night. If you're doing all these activities that pull you in every direction, guess what? You're probably not going to have time to take care of yourself. So simplify your life first, and then ritualize your life. Remove as many unnecessary, unimportant variables as possible, and then keep what remains, keep what's vital, and ritualize it. Put a stepwise progression that says from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., this is what my day looks like. This is how it unfolds minute by minute. And here are all the factors that I need to get in alignment with each other to ensure that this very important goal in my life right now, which is to get physically optimized, well, here are all the factors that are in alignment with that, and I'm going to ensure that it happens. The problem at times for myself personally was that I used to lose focus on my overarching dream, my vision. I used to lose clarity about it. I started to doubt myself at times, right? I started to become discouraged at some points in my life. And when I lost my sense of vision, my sense of clarity with respect to why I was doing everything that I was doing, well, then I started to forget about the rituals that I had implemented. Why would I do any rituals if the rituals aren't designed to bring me towards a purpose, an objective? And so when I lost sight of my purpose in life, I also lost my rituals. And as soon as you lose your rituals in life, you start to get pulled in every direction. You start to get pulled in the direction of energy vampires. You start to get pulled in the direction of health problems. You start to get distracted by digital devices. All these things start to pull on you because you have all this extra attention left over that is no longer focused on one point. And now you have that attention spread out. And attention that's spread out, that isn't focused, doesn't accomplish much. Attention that is focused on one thing, attention that's focused on your purpose, a clear goal, will be something that allows you to achieve something, like a laser cutting through a piece of granite. So clarity of purpose is key. If you don't have clarity of purpose, if you're not moving towards something you love, you're going to be in a state of fear, not necessarily a conscious state of fear, but you're always going to be moving away from things you don't want. You don't want to miss your appointment. You don't want to be a bad mother and not bring your kids to soccer practice. You don't want to lose your job and not have any income. You're going to be in that kind of mindset versus I want to create a new business. I want to create a new body. I want to have newfound health. And so you're using the same amount of energy, but in one situation, you're moving away from things you don't want. And in the other one, you're moving towards things you do want. Clarity of purpose. Once you have clarity of purpose, you could structure your rituals in such a way that it allows you to achieve exactly what you want. So when I work with my clients and I notice that there's a problem of motivation for them, and there's a busy schedule happening in their lives that keeps them from doing some of the more basic things, well, the first thing I address is their clarity of purpose. Why are they doing what they want to do? And I won't accept a shallow answer, right? I'll put pressure on them to find a deeper reason, because I know that until they know exactly what they want in life, they will not be able to simplify and prune all the other things they don't want in life. And until you prune the things you don't need in your life, the activities that are sucking up your emotional and mental resources and your physical energy, until you prune these things and get rid of them, you won't have the amount of focus you need to zone in on that one thing you want, and you will not be able to create the rituals that push you towards that. Otherwise, it's too complicated. You're spread too thin, as they say. So you have to be very clear about what you want. And only when you're clear, and only when life is simplified, can you create a ritual that's going to get you there consistently. And then you're going to feel motivated again. Then you're going to feel awesome, because every day you're going to be going through the paces, and every day you're going to see the needle move a little bit more, and you're slowly inching towards your goal. And every day becomes different, and your body starts to change, and you start to feel different. You start to perceive things differently. And you found a key to life right there. You found a key to success. It's to simplify and redirect and focus your energy on the one thing that matters most. But first, you must make the decision. So in this scenario, a peri-workout ritual, ritualizing the time before, during, and after your training, it's not a complicated process. All you have to do is sit down, take a piece of paper, write out every hour of the day, and decide on what you're going to do consistently every hour of the day for the next couple of months, let's say. Right? Make a plan, literally plan it out. You are no longer subject to your environment. You are following through on a plan. And you're going to make your environment bend and twist so that you could better follow that plan. Or you're going to adjust a plan to better suit the environment. Either way, the plan must work, or it must adhere to certain principles that allow you to actually transform yourself. And what are the principles? They're pretty simple. In order to actually transform yourself physically, you must prepare yourself beforehand. When you're there, you must do something that moves the needle, that's efficient, that's productive. And afterwards, you must prepare yourself for rest and recovery. And there's many ways of accomplishing this. There's many ways of eating and managing your rest and your stress in order to make this happen. There's a lot of variety. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you sit down and you plan it out and you stick to it and you adjust over time if necessary. So let me review the steps. 3 steps, okay? You have your pre-workout, you have your peri-workout, your actual training time, and you have your post-workout. What do you do in your pre-workout? You make sure you eat 3 to 4 hours before, otherwise you're going to get indigestion. You take all your supplements, your digestive duo, your core 4 supplements. You ensure that digestion and absorption is appropriate. And in the 3 hours prior to your workout, well, what you want to do is you want to do some attention blocking. You want to block out any distractions that are non-vital to what you're trying to accomplish that day. This means avoiding emails, avoiding text messages, avoiding social media, anything that might upset you or suck the energy out of you. Avoid it. I know this might be hard for our digitally addicted age, the era we live in, but it must be done, because otherwise you're going to get pulled in one direction or the other. And so what you could do quite simply is you could forego all these distractions, and you can make sure that your phone is only set to ring, and that people around you and people in your life know that if there's an emergency, they'll call you. But for 3-4 hours, that's your time. And you're not going to be distracted, and you're going to focus on your health. And normally, 99% of the time, I'm sure the problem could wait 24 hours. You could set yourself up with your coworkers and your family to let them know that this is the structure that they're going to have to abide by, and that only under the circumstances of an emergency will they actually make your phone ring. That's step 1. Pre-workout ritual. Guard your energy, guard your attention, and prepare your body for what you're about to do. Step 2, have a clear training goal, have a program, have a plan of action. An MH5 training program is a great idea. Doesn't have to be that though. If you want to do a yoga practice, go ahead and follow the instructor. If you want to pursue a new sport, go ahead and do that. Whatever's appropriate for you. But the point is, you must have a plan and a clear goal that relates to that. You must say to yourself, well, the reason I'm spending this time altering my body and conditioning my body to accomplish said task is because if I do that, it relates directly back to my overarching dream and legacy. And what I create here will benefit me in that area. Again, using myself as an example, if I'm healthy, I'm more credible. If I'm healthy, I have more energy to do work. If I'm healthy, my brain is healthy. I'm able to speak more clearly. I'm able to accomplish more. I'm able to learn faster. If I keep my body and my brain healthy, then I'm in a better position to achieve everything else I want. And so when I go to the training environment and I start to knock out reps in whatever exercise that I'm doing, well, that's the real motivation behind it. It's not to look good for the girl, right? It's not to show it off at the pool. I don't even do those things. If you knew me personally, you'd know that I don't spend much time doing anything else except for building my dream. And so my motivation to be in the gym environment is that. And so I do it every day and I'm consistent and I've been doing it for over a decade. That's true motivation. That's step 2. Go with a plan, go with a purpose. And you'll enjoy your time and use it efficiently while you're there. Finally, step 3, once you've finished your training routine, once you've successfully implemented and completed your plan for the day, you get to go home, you get to rest and digest. You get to have some sort of liquid meal or easily digestible meal so it doesn't disturb your sleep. You fuel up. You prepare your clothes and your equipment for the next day. You put that equipment and those clothes and that water and you put it in the driver's seat of your car so it's a nice visual cue that, hey, guess what? When I sit in this driver's seat, oh yeah, I'm going straight to the gym. No choice, right? Even if you work out at home, put it in the car because it's going to remind you as soon as you get home, oh, I got to grab that bag and I got to go into my living room and I got to work out. Doing these 3 things will set you up for success. Taking care of the before, the during, and the after will ensure that there's purpose and clarity to what you're doing when it comes to training, that you have clear goals and a clear plan that'll take you there, and that you could feel good as you progress towards it. And that would be your peri-training ritual. That's how you would use the power of habit, the power of rituals, to get yourself to do something you wouldn't otherwise do. You focus on the extremities and you zone in on the target activity that you want to work on, right? You would think instead, oh my gosh, I need to go to the gym, so I'm going to focus on the gym. No, don't focus on the gym. Focus on what you do before the gym and focus on what you do after the gym. And what's in between, the meat and potatoes of this sandwich, is going to take care of itself. Because there's no reason for you to do the thing at the beginning. There's not going to be as much psychological resistance to this new thing that you're doing prior to the gym. And there's not going to be as much resistance to the thing you do after the gym. But both of those things will improve the chances that you do the step in the middle. If you do step 1 and you do step 3 consistently, you're probably going to do step 2, because otherwise you're going to say to yourself, well, why am I doing step 1 and 3? It works. It's a great little trick. And so all my clients, everyone I work with, before they get to work on one of my MH5 training systems, they have to earn that right. And they earn that right by creating rituals and understanding the process of creating rituals and habits that allow them to free up the time and energy they would otherwise need to add another stressor in their life. And training is another stressor, a positive stressor, a eustress it's called. But in order to be able to afford more stress in your life, you must have energy left over. You must have attention and focus left over. And the only way you're going to have energy, attention, and focus left over in your life is if you simplify your life and habitualize your life. And that's what the peri-training workout ritual is all about. The peri-training ritual is all about freeing up energy so you could focus it and direct it exactly where you want so you could get what you want out of life. If you like what you've just watched, you could show your support by doing one of the following. Subscribe to this channel, join my mailing list for exclusive how-to content, listen to my radio show, or follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter. And you could visit my website at www.transformyourselfuniversity.com.